What a football game, guys. Steelers and Ravens are going to overtime, which means I have just enough time to do another requested album review. This was requested by a couple of people recently, so those of you who have requested album reviews prior to this, there's going to be a lot of you, don't fret, I'm still going to get to them. This is just one that's really been clamored for, so I'm going to get it out of the way right now. Not to mention, it involves my favorite band, Opeth, so it's going to be very impossible for me to pass this one up. It's also for probably one of my favorite albums of all time, which is Blackwater Park. That said, do I really need to say more? I basically just gave away that I absolutely love this album. However, I will go into a little bit more detail. This is an album that was released in the early 2000s, 2001, and has really been considered to be a landmark album for Opeth's career as far as getting a true fan base and establishing a unique sound amid their catalog, which is kind of really weird to say considering Opeth's been a band that has really evolved from this epic sort of darkened, progressive, black, death metal band into just a... They're almost impossible to categorize. They really remind me a lot of Porcupine Tree in that particular nature because they have experimented with their sound so much throughout their career. They've had the progressive rock-themed album, which was Damnation. They have had the really epic black metal release that you could almost call it in Orchid, which was their debut. And you've seen this evolution of their sound from Orchid to Morning Rise to, My Arms Are Hers to Still Life, and now the Blackwater Park, which was their 5th album. And this is probably one of the most highly regarded albums of the metal community in the decade of the 2000s, 100%. And hey, lo and behold, it was right there from the beginning part of this particular decade. This is an amazing, amazing 8-track release. And if you get the special edition, you get 2 bonus tracks. All in all 10 tracks rack up to exactly 75 minutes and 55 seconds. Let me run down the track listing for you real quick. You have the Leper Affinity, which is an amazing start-off song. This brings a lot of raw power, but also establishes the fact that this is a band that is willing to tweak the progressive side. This was my first Opeth album, so this is the first time in my unique metal realm, whenever I kind of got exposed to this, that I really heard a band that was willing to transcend from one particular genre to another right in the middle of the song, be both brutal and beautiful at the same time. The Leper Affinity really showed that for me. Bleak is song number 2, another very, very good track that really exposes that particular side of Opeth's catalog, the kind of balance that they have, the yin and the yang of Opeth, the beauty and the brutality. Track 3, which is what you're listening to right now, is Harvest. This is nothing but beauty. Acoustically driven, wonderfully sung by Mikkel, one of their best, slower, more intermittent songs that you're ever going to hear from Opeth. Absolutely beautiful, pristine. First exposure to this band for me was this song. It was off of a compilation that a buddy of mine got through a magazine that he purchased back in the year 2001, and I fell in love with this song immediately the first time that I heard it, so I had to get the album. I needed to hear what the rest of it was like. Drapery Falls is track number 4. This is a song that really is a developer. It starts off kind of slow. Well, it really doesn't start off slow. I mean, it starts off with the brutality, but it then divulges into a little bit more of a slower type of deal with the guitars. And with Michael's voice, it's really driven a lot by Michael's voice and a very faint guitar, and then it just explodes into a powerful track. Dirge for November's track number 5. This is another slower-paced song. This is really what you would call an epic dirge right there at the beginning. A lot of passion. You can hear a lot of pain inside of his voice. And then once again, the yin and the yang. This is what I think really causes this album to get such high acclaim. The balance on this album between the beauty and the brutality, the yin and the yang as I call it, of Opeth, is just absolutely pristine on this album. It is perfectly, perfectly balanced. And you can also see that exhibited in track number 6, which is the Funeral Portrait. This one exhibits more of the brutality, has one of the best outros of an Opeth song that I've heard, probably one of the best outros on this album for me in particular. Really, really love this track. Goes right into Patterns in the Ivy, which is track number 7. This is a short little introduction that introduces you, aptly enough, to the title track, the epic finale of the basic 8-track release, Blackwater Park. This is a 12-minute plus long song full of meandering waves. Let me tell you, this is something that starts off with a very, very powerful riff to start. How powerful, you might ask? Listen to this. It's going to fade right in. What's happening? What's happening? Kicks you right in the balls. Right to start it off. Right from the get-go. Kicks you square in the teeth, square in the balls. Then, once again, the yin and the yang of Opeth fades into a nice little blissful melody and then explodes into the finale. What's the song to compare this to? Potentially White Walls by Between the Buried and Me, only Opeth does the same idea better. They don't have to be brutal all the way through. They don't have to change their particular idea all the way through. They're able to do it with meandering waves, and they do it in an excellent manner. Now, what are the two extra songs, you might be asking? We have Still Day Beneath the Sun, which is a 4-minute and 34-second long acoustically driven track. In fact, both of the bonus songs are acoustically driven. And Patterns in the Ivy Part 2, which is Patterns of the Ivy, essentially, with lyrics. Lyrics to both of these songs are very solid. They're very solid acoustic performances, and you can notice that this is a band that was definitely geared to do an album that was kind of softer and more melodic. The Damnation album, you can definitely see it coming as far back as Blackwater Park, and even on songs from Still Life. You could see that this was just a band that had that in them. I don't know what else to say about this album. This is one of the most perfect albums that I've probably ever heard. It's one that I go back to in my catalog every so often, just for the hell of it. One of the albums that I listen to the most. Probably one of my favorite albums. That if I had to construct a list of my favorite albums of all time, this would probably either be number one or it would be right there in the top 5. Hands down, was the album of the year in 2001 between myself and my friend. I think it was just for me, but he's not a big Opeth fan. But Blackwater Park impressed him, and he loves Blackwater Park. So that's telling you something. You've seen him. He's in my Amorphous Skyforger review, so check it out. He's in the background. That's the guy I'm talking about. You guys, you requested Blackwater Park. What more are you going to get from me? This is a 9.99999999999 out of 10. Absolutely love this album. Would not have anything less to say about this album than something that would involve 10, something close to perfection. I probably sound like I'm on fucking speed because I'm so excited that I finally get to do this album review for you guys. I will check you guys later, should I say, with my next album review, which will be another request, and I promise you guys that it will be something that was requested a little bit earlier in the request month, so definitely stay tuned. Your request is coming soon. Keep them coming. I'm going to be kind of doing a little bit of that, as well as preparing for my 3 other projects, so I'm going to start to mix it up a little bit. However, I will still get to each and every one of your requests and honor them, so definitely check back and the Coverkiller channel each and every day. I'm trying to add a video a day in December. We're going to hope I can do it. Take care, guys. Blackwater Park. If you haven't heard it, you should go get it now.